Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Implementing API versioning is crucial for maintaining backward compatibility and ensuring that clients using your API can seamlessly transition to newer versions without breaking changes. In the context of ASP.NET Core, there are several strategies for versioning your APIs. This tutorial will cover a few common methods, specifically URL path versioning and query string versioning, along with code examples. Step 1. Setting up your ASP.NET Core project. First, create a new ASP.NET Core Web API project. You can do this using the .NET CLI or Visual Studio. Using .NET CLI** bash .NET new webapi and versionedapidemo. cd versionedapidemo. Step 2. Install required packages. To use API versioning, you need to install the microsoft.aspnetcore.mvc.versioning nuget package. Using .NET CLI** bash .NET add package microsoft.aspnetcore.mvc.versioning. Step 3. Configure API versioning. Open the startup.cs file, or program.cs if using .NET 6 or later, and configure API versioning in the configure services method. # public void configure services, iService collection services. Services.add controllers. / add API versioning. Services.add API versioning, options equals. Options.assume default version when unspecified equals true. Options.default API version equals new API version, 1, 0. Options.report API versions equals true. Step 4. Create your controllers. Now, create two versions of a simple API controller. 1. Create the first version of the controller, weather forecast controller _v1.cs. #. Using microsoft.aspnetcore.mvc. Namespace versionedapidemo.controllers. API controller. Root, API/v version API version / controller. Public class weather forecast controller _v1, controller base. HTTP GET. Public IAction result GET. var forecast equals new. New date equals datetime. Now, temperature C equals 25, summary equals warm. New date equals datetime. Now. Add days, 1, temperature C equals 30, summary equals hot. Return OK, forecast. 2. Create the second version of the controller, weather forecast controller _v2.cs. #. Using microsoft.aspnetcore.mvc. Namespace versionedapidemo.controllers. API controller. Root, API/v version API version / controller. API version, 2.0. Public class weather forecast controller _v2, controller base. HTTP GET. Public IAction result GET. var forecast equals new. New date equals datetime. Now, temperature C equals 25, summary equals warm. New date equals datetime. Now. Add days, 1, temperature C equals 30, summary equals hot. New date equals datetime. Now. Add days, 2, temperature C equals 28, summary equals mild. Return OK, forecast. Step 5, testing the API. Now that you have set up your API versioning, you can test your endpoints using a tool like Postman or your browser. For version 1 *, get http://localhost 5000/API/v1/weather forecast. For version 2 *, Get http://localhost 5000/API/v2/weather forecast. Step 6, Query String Versioning, optional. If you prefer to use query string versioning instead of URL path versioning, you can adjust the configuration in startup.cs. Sharp services.add-API versioning, options equals options.api version reader equals new query string API version reader, API version. Then, you would access the API like this. For version 1 asterisk. Get http://localhost 5000/weather forecast, API version equals 1.0. For version 2 asterisk. Get http://localhost 5000/weather forecast, API version equals 2.0. Conclusion. You now have a simple API with versioning implemented using ASP.NET Core. This approach allows you to maintain multiple versions of your API simultaneously, which is essential for a smooth transition for your API consumers. Additional considerations. Documentation * consider documenting each API version using Swagger, Swashbuckle, to make it easier for consumers to understand available endpoints and their versions. Deprecation policy * establish a clear deprecation policy for old API versions to inform users when a version will be retired. Testing * ensure thorough testing of all API versions to avoid regressions when new features are added or existing features are modified. This tutorial provides a foundational understanding of API versioning in ASP.NET Core, enabling you to adapt and expand based on your application's needs.